Marlon Cheeto Vera versus the one, the only, the Dominator, right? Not really the Dominator, but Dom Cruz, man. The greatest bantamweight fighter of all time, maybe, right? If you really look at the man's credentials, if you look at his statistics, I mean, he's got a case to be made. So the thing about Dominick Cruz that I really like, man, footwork is still impeccable at his advanced age, I guess I should say. Experience is there a ton, right? He has a ton of experience. He's seen it all. He's done it all. The one thing that I think I've noticed this, and I don't want to blow anything out of proportion, but I do think that the chin has deteriorated just a little bit. He's kind of getting caught in situations where he wasn't getting caught before, getting rocked, recovering just fine. Like in his last win against Pedro Munoz, he got rocked twice, bad, but he recovered. He came back and he got the job done, right? When he fought Casey Kenny, I don't believe he got rocked too bad, but you could tell the power of Casey Kenny was really something he had to handle. Now, Cheeto Vera, this is a man who, it's a special story, right, AJ? Because we relate to the tenacity, the Goggins mentality, but also we've kind of watched his career blossom in front of our eyes. I want your quick take on what it's been like to see Marlon Vera kind of grow and advance throughout his career in the short, like what, 5, 6, 7 years we've been watching him. What do you think?
Yeah, man, very short time frame for Cheeto Vera, and especially I think it was the big win over Sean O'Malley, the Sugar Show. Even though a lot, the Sugar Show fans don't really give him credit for the win, I really think that's kind of what put him in the spotlight. Like, oh, this dude's a real fighter, man, a real contender. He's in there to bang, and then every single fight leading up after that has just been banger after banger after banger. I know he had the loss to Jose Aldo, but other than that didn't really deter much of his fight status or his career status. And that's really what you want in your fight career, man. One of those ones where everyone's excited to see you win or excited to see you fight. Win or lose, either way, you're gonna have some fans in there, and it's been impressive, man. It's been like motivating, if you will, in a certain kind of way to watch Cheeto Vera win, because not a lot of people for a long time were not having this dude's back, man. They were not really thinking about Marlon Vera as the dude anymore, But now, especially like you were saying before, Derek, when Dominick Cruz is saying, "I'm not fighting anyone behind me. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight Cheeto Vera." All this stuff. Now that he's ahead and he's saying the same, or he's not saying the same, he's saying, "Oh no, I'll fight anyone." Like, that's what I like about him a lot, man. He doesn't care if it's a big risk or not. He doesn't give a shit, man. He's in it for the fight. He's in it for the glory, and it's pretty impressive, man, to see somebody who's not worried about what people are saying, or worried about his number, or worried about wins and losses. This dude's here to be a dog in the cage, and indomitable will. You want to talk about spirit, man? You want to talk it, and funny, man, funny. You see some interviews from this dude. He's a people person, man. He's he has friends. He's training out of Ruka. He has all this stuff that's going on. Very impressive fighter, man. I love to see the growth going through him, man. How are you feeling about Cheeto's rise to where he's at?
Well, to be fair, brother, I do think that while the Sean O'Malley win, quote unquote, it is a win. It's a win, right? While I do think that it definitely propelled him into a different level of stardom, I guess you should say, I think they put a chip on his shoulder more than anything. And the reason why I say that is because when Marlon Vera got the win and nobody credited him for the win, he was like, oh, y'all aren't counting this win as a win? Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to show you what I'm really about then. And I think that's been that extra Ecuadorian chip on the shoulder where it's been, I'm going to be ready for a fight at all times. I'm going to beat everybody's ass in front of me. I don't care. We're not friends, all that good stuff. So while I definitely think that comes into play, the growth has been amazing because this is a dude who we've seen lose a bunch of times. This is a little similar to... Would you agree, AJ, this is a little similar to the Charlie Olive's story, right? Where it's like we've seen him lose, and now he's on this tear, and we're like, well, because we've seen him lose, do we really think that he can advance the way that he's advancing? Now, look at this is the biggest opportunity he's ever gotten in his career, and he's fighting number 8, right? And this is the biggest opportunity. So it comes down to this right here. Can all of the years of experience, can all of the detriment, the turmoil, can all of the setbacks all be the catalyst to advance him to the title opportunity that he has here? And this is the opportunity. So let's talk about the X's and O's here, AJ. The X's and O's come down to this. Dominick Cruz, this is a tactful man on his feet, right? Great with his hands. However, he's more of a boxer than he is a kickboxer. Marlon Vera gets hit a lot. He got hit a lot in his last fight against Rob Font. Even though he landed the more damaging shots, it looks like he barely got touched up at all. He got outlanded pretty heavily right there. Do you expect Dominick Cruz to outland Cheeto Vera in this 5-round fight?
If this was a younger Cruz, I'd say always, man. But now what you're talking about before with Dominick Cruz kind of getting a little chinny, I think his speed has also started to, maybe not chinny, but, the chin has started to, show signs of deterioration. Also his speed. That's what kind of worries me. The footwork, everyone's catching on to it. It's not this weird thing that nobody's ever seen before. And he's kind of just not lost a step, but lost like a quarter step. And that's what we were seeing in the Pedro Munoz fight, getting caught a lot more, getting read a lot more, getting predicted a lot more. So do I think Cruz is going to outstrike Marlon Vera? Probably. Yeah, probably. I'll say yeah. But what do you think?
Well, that's something I definitely anticipate. I think that Marlon Vera, he's a slow starter, right? He will normally always loses round one. And I think that's just getting reads, getting into the fight, all that good stuff. Dom Cruz, I think he's going to try to put a pace on him. The problem is, even though he gets outlanded, I do expect Marlon Vera to land the bigger shots. But you have to be able to hit Dominick Cruz. And that's the one thing that worries me about this fight is that even though Pedro managed to land a few big shots on Cruz, it wasn't like he landed a bunch of shots, you know what I mean? It's like he caught him a couple times early, and then that was really it. Cruz basically took over from there. Can Marlon Vera, with that walk-down style, manage to land on Cruz? Because if you think about it, isn't that not what Cruz wants the most? Walk towards me so then I can counter strike and I could slip out the way and do all that. The problem is for Marlon Vera, or for Dominick Cruz, I should say, Marlon Vera has a ton of different kicks that he could throw out there as well. So he's not just boxing. That's the difference. He has so many different weapons. Teep kick, side kick to the head, big hooks, uppercuts, elbows, get in for the clinch, right? There's so many different paths. And Marlon Vera basically came into the UFC just as a jiu-jitsu guy. So all the paths to victory I think there's more paths to victory for Chito Vera, but I can see him not taking over until the later rounds. Now let's play the opposite. Can you see Dominick Cruz just being like, hey, y'all must have forgot who the fuck I am, and let me just show you how I dominate this man in a decision? Is that in the likely outcomes for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, always in the likely outcome. Do I see it being the more likely outcome? No. I mean, I see the big shots landing, doing more damage. But man, if Dominick Cruz, it's a weird thing too, because I feel like the UFC at this point isn't about running around and evading and staying classic defense like it kind of used to be. You know what I'm saying? Like when striking was looking good, everyone would be like death by 1,000 touches. You get out, come back in, pop, 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 get out, dip again. Now it's a little bit more mixed, a little bit more kind of heavy knockout focus. A little bit, I don't know though. At the same point, that was back when we were a little more focused on just the Apex Center. Now we're bouncing around. It's going to be interesting to see how the judges feel about it, because that's really where Dominick's style comes into play. If he's going to do his style, the weird footwork, the get off the center line, dip in, counter strike, dip out again, how do the judges see that playing out versus somebody who's walking you down, attacking, controlling the octagon, controlling the center of the ring? Will they be seeing that as an advantageous position? I don't really know, but I do see him being the faster, being the more fleet of foot fighter, if you will. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think that's the most likely outcome because Marlon Vera oftentimes will just walk you down, kind of plod a little bit, and just be the war of attrition guy and just be like, I'm going to be more fresh than you. Come round 4, rounds 3, round 4, round 5, I'm going to start picking up the pace, so you better be able to hang with me. And given that this is a dude whose cardio is out the roof, 29 years old, always ready for a fight, kind of peaking in the prime of his career, Dom Cruz, 36 on the tail end, fighting for what he believes to still be his, because if you think about it, injury is the thing that really derailed him, right? Aside from the Cody Garbrandt loss, he never really lost a step, you know what I mean? This is Dominick Cruz that we're talking about after all. Very intelligent man. So do you see any value? Because we never even talked about it. The money line here, minus 250 for Chito Vera, plus 210 for Dom Cruz. Do you see value in throwing anything on the plus 210 for Dom Cruz, given that come on, like I said, one of the greatest bantamweights ever?
Ooh. I think if you're going to hedge the bet, Dominick Cruz 225 decision. I think that's the way. I mean, it's a little bit better than, because I don't think he's going to knock out Cheeto. I doubt he'll get a submission. They even see the 2,000 plus 2,000 submission prop. I think if you're going to throw it in, I would throw it on that plus 225 decision. What about you?
Well, it's actually interesting to me because I'm looking at the live odds now, and I would thought maybe they're going to start swelling more in favor of Marlon Vera, but they actually shrunk a little bit, just a little bit. Minus 240 now for Chito Vera, plus 200 for Dom Cruz. So you never know. By fight night, it could creep up more. It could be closer to, minus 150 type situation. So that's interesting to me because I think that there's a lot of hype behind Chito Vera right now. But I think the reason why I'm picking him to win specifically, I just think that he's going to be more durable. He's going to be there every moment of every round, and you're going to have to worry about that power because Rob Font has a little power behind him. Dom Cruz, I think it's fair to say, doesn't have that same power behind him. So how are you going to stop Marlon Vera from walking you down? That's really the question I have. But you know what I mean? Dom Cruz, he's a very crafty veteran, man. So I like Chito Vera. The question here is a lot of people are saying that it's possible. Dom Cruz, he's only been knocked out once in his career, right? A lot of people are saying that Chito Vera, they could see him finishing within the distance, maybe later rounds, but finishing Dom Cruz. I kind of find it a little tough to see him finishing Dom Cruz, like finishing him. But then again, I never really thought he would do what he did to Rob Font, where Rob Font looked like he just got assaulted, a battery charge up by 3 different men who jumped him in a dark alley late at night. You know what I mean? I never thought that Chito could do that to Rob Font. So, what do you like here, man? If we're rolling with Marlon Vera, are you liking the TKO here? Are you liking that plus 150 decision prop? Like, what do you like?
I like that plus 150 decision prop. It makes a little more sense to me just because I agree. I don't really see him finishing Dom. Can he? Yeah. Is it more likely to get the decision? That's what I think personally. So that's what I'm going to rock with. The decision prop, plus 150 for Marlon Vera. What about you?
All right, yeah, I think I'm rolling with the same thing. Over and under is 4.5 rounds, minus 200 for the over. So I think that's safe play to rock with that over. I just don't see Cruz knocking Marlon Vera out, and I don't really see Chito Vera hitting him with the Frankie Edgar, just front kicking his head off of his shoulders. I really just don't see that. So with that being said, if it goes to the later and longer it goes, I think it favors Marlon Vera more than it did Dominick Cruz. But I am not afraid to say I will eat my words if Dom Cruz can pull off the miraculous Dom Cruz decision win, the classic Dom Cruz decision win. I mean, this is a dude who I just feel like we're discounting him a little bit too much. Like the odds should be closer to a pick'em than what they are currently. So I do think, honestly, AJ, because I know you like that plus 225 decision, I kind of like that plus 210 money line, just $5 on Dom Cruz. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to throw on there, just something, just because. Come on, bro, this is Dominick Cruz we're talking about. But either way, that's your main event, folks.